Hey friends, Miss Katie here with Heritage Ways. Today I want to show you how to can something, but I'm also going to give you a bonus recipe. But listen, I thought that canning those chicken legs that time was the simplest thing I've ever canned, but I think I was wrong because this is even easier. I will tell you why. I will show you how to can dried beans. We're not going to soak them. We're going to wash them, but we're not going to soak them. And it is so super easy. You can even remember the ratio really easily too. I'm going to show you a bonus video because this canning beans is so simple. I'm going to add a bonus recipe, not video, a bonus recipe for you that you can make with dried beans. And we're going to make it while it's going to be from start to finish, from dried beans to ready, before the other beans come out of the canner. So I hope you'll learn a thing or two or get some inspiration, and I'm so glad you're here. Okay, the first thing I did was to go ahead and sort through the beans. So I have a pile here. I just basically, if you're new to using dried beans, that's fine. If you don't know, that's absolutely fine. So what you need to do is you need to know to sort through the bag of beans. You don't want to just open them up and assume that they're all good to go, because you're going to have beans that are just undesirable. I don't know why. You know, maybe they've got a pest hole in them, like a bug hole. I don't know. Maybe they've got dirt or rocks in the beans, which I've never understood why that always happens, but it does. And now I'm just going to rinse them off. Actually, I'm going to wash them in two. These aren't terribly dirty. And why are white beans called navy? I don't know. My daughter asked me that the other day, because they're not the same as Great Northern. These are actually navy beans. So, and I'm just going to wash them off. If they were real dirty, I'd get in here and I'd rub them together like this, and 2 or 3 rinses of water. But this is probably only going to need a couple. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just using tap water. When I can here in a minute, I'll be using my Berkey water for canning. Our water has a lot of chlorine, but I'm just rinsing these off. They're not even sitting in it. And I just do like this. Typically, this is Little Music Man's job. He does a good job at it. He's learning. So get the kids and the family involved in helping. Okay. Now, if anything floats, any beans float, you also want to throw those away because they're probably not good either. Okay, the water is a little bit murky, so I'll probably do 1 or 2 more rinses. Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit about what you're going to need. This is going to be a suitable procedure, it sounds like surgery, a suitable process for any kind of dried beans. We're going to pressure wash, good grief, I can't get my words together. I said pressure wash. We're going to pressure can these for 75 minutes on the quarts. I would say if you want to, and you may have to experiment with this, but if they're bigger like garbanzo, you know, meatier beans, something bigger like that, you may want to do more time. But I can tell you that I've done black beans, white beans, navy beans, and pinto beans, and I did them at the time I'm going to tell you, which is the 75 minutes per quart, pint, 90 minutes per quart. And they did fine. So, your materials. You might want to grab a pen and paper. If you're like me, you have something you make notes in. I carry this everywhere, church, everywhere. If I go run errands, and I have a bunch of steno pads. This is just a homekeeping tip. And this tip was shared with me by a dear, dear, dear friend, a lady who's nearly 90. And Homemaker, just beautiful lady. Her heart and soul is just beautiful, and she's still with us, but she taught me that she just has steno pads and she uses those, and those have worked well for me. So grab your pad and paper and just jot down some notes that I'm about to tell you. Just the times and all is what you're going to need to jot down. All right, I have my jars in the dishwasher. That's your first tip because, you know, it's easy. I put them in there. That's not the only way to clean and sanitize, but it is easy for me. I've got my beans sorted and rinsed. I've got a funnel. I'm using a glass funnel today. Thank you, Miss Barbara in Florida. You know who you are. We love y'all. She mailed this to me, and I'm going to use this today because I am going to be pouring hot liquid. I don't always use it to can. It's not necessarily a canning funnel because the opening's a little bit smaller than a canning funnel, but I'm going to use it today because I'm not thrilled about the idea of pouring hot water over my plastic funnel. That's not good for us. I do have Redmond real salt, and this is what I'm going to use today. I use this for everything. You can, again, get this at Layman's if you want to. I have a wand here, a magnetic wand to pick up my lids that I have just softened a little bit in some warm water, or hot water, I guess. Speaking of lids, today I am going to use my favorite lids that are made locally, literally an hour up the road from me. And these are made in USA, Ohio, USA, superb lids. And I just appreciate the company's philosophy. I appreciate that they're local. Again, you can get these at Layman's. So I'm going to use these, but I'll be honest, I'm also going to use ball canning lids because I have them. And I'm out of the narrow mouth superb lids. I've been canning so much lately. I only have two. So I'll be using the ball lids because, like you said, we're doing the best we can with our homemaking, aren't we? We're doing the best we can. It's no guilt. So we're doing the best we can, and that is what I have. I'm not going to not use them. But going forward, I only buy superb lids. Then I have these things out. I'll just go ahead and talk to you about these now. You can add spices and seasonings if you want to. Now, I'm going to leave this up to you. Salt is the only thing I use. I pulled these out so you could see that you could use, I have my dried onion flakes, or dried minced onion, dried minced garlic. And another tip, I love labels, and I even wrote on here, 1/8 of a teaspoon is equal to 1 fresh garlic clove. So just make labels and put helpful hints and tips on the labels if you have to. These are the dried, the bell peppers that we dried out of our garden this year, but I'm actually not going to use those either. I'm just going to do navy beans and the salt. This summer when I canned a lot of dried beans, I did salt and I did fresh peppers, not onions, but I did fresh peppers, and because I had tons of them I needed to get rid of. So, you know, you can do that. You can do fresh or dehydrated. You can just put the dehydrated right there in with what we're going to do. Also, another tip I want to tell you. I have this little notebook. It literally was 15 cents. 15 cents. Just like last year, it was 15 cents at a thrift store. And had the paper in it and everything. So this is my canning notebook. And the reason I keep everything here is I learned this tip kind of from my in-laws a few years ago, that because they always made pickles and jams and things like that. But my father-in-law told me that you can never stop learning, always learn from everybody. Told me that they would write the date. I think they would put a batch number. And it's the same thing, you know, food factories do this. A batch number, so that if you open a batch of whatever and it was bad, you knew the whole batch might be bad, you could throw it away. Otherwise, if you don't just have a distinction like that, you don't know what's bad and what's not. So I do it this way. I put, I used to make labels on everything I can, but now I can so much that I don't have time for that. But I write it on the top of the jar. Actually, you could write it with a Sharpie on the jar if you wanted to, too, after it cooled. But anyway, and then I put the date, not the batch, but the date. And then I'll write it in my notebook. Like I've got August 26, 2022, 10 pints of French green beans. Beans were from the Amish man in Ashland County who makes the poly furniture, the outdoor furniture. So that way I knew if the beans were good, I would know, which I know they are because I've already had them, to go back and get his same green beans next year if he, that would be a good thing. 7 quarts of beets. This was on September 4th. 7 quarts of beets, not spiced. They were beets from the Amish stand next to Prairie Lane store. So that's why I keep this. I can go back and look, and I can know, and the reason I bring this up is because I can know if I didn't write it on here that it just didn't have seasoning. I can go back and look, and I can tell, okay, on October 6th, I canned some beans and I only use salt, no seasoning. So it might sound complicated, but it's really not. It simplifies, helps my brain. All right, now we're just going to put them, we're going to fill our jars and put them in the canner, and we're going to go from there. And then we're going to make our recipe that I want to share with you. Okay, I have a mixture of my wide and narrow. I'm going to do the wide first because they're going to go on the bottom layer. Of course, I've got my canner prepared. I have shown y'all that before, but in case you haven't seen, it is my Presto canner that I'm using today. I have 3 canners, but I'm using the Presto canner. It is tall. I like to use this most of all because of the height. And it's got I'm using it according to my manufacturer's directions. So it's got my 2 inches of water. I measure it with my little ruler, and it is hot, so it's steaming. I've also got my Berkey water, my filtered water over here in my pot. It is steaming, and I'm going to just add my beans. I'm going to add a level 1/2 cup to each pint jar. And that is a level, that's not heaping. So I've got a 1/2 cup of beans, and I'm going to put a 1/2 cup of my salt. Just dump it in there.
Oh my stars, I meant to say 1/2 teaspoon, y'all.
If you're like me, Barney Fife, he was trying to memorize something on the Andy Griffith show, and he was trying to make it easy on himself, and Andy thought he was making it complicated, but that's how I feel when I'm about to tell you what I'm going to tell you. But to me, I remember this as a pint is 1/2 quart, and you're going to put a 1/2 cup of beans and a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. All right, and then we're just filling with water. How easy is this? Pure water. And like I said, now, before the water, if you wanted the spices, any seasonings, you just put them in there before the water. I need to change hands. Put them in there before the water. And again, the jars were hot, straight out of the dishwasher. All right, now I'm just going to run the debubbler, which is not as crucial as if you were doing something more dense in there. But I do run it around here. Why would you want to can dried beans? Well, it's so much faster to open up a can of ready-to-go beans than it is to, have to soak them and all that kind of thing. And then cook them. So, to me, it's a time saver. And it's much cheaper than buying beans. I mean, I got that 50-pound... I got the 50-pound bag for $51. I did see today at Dollar General, there's 1-pound bags for $1, but I don't want to buy 50 of those. All right, get the salt out of my way so I don't spill water in it. And I'm simply just going to apply my lids. Now the wide mouths are the Superb that I'm using because I did have enough of those. And remember, I've told y'all about the secret to using these. Do not, please, friends, screw them on too tight, or like tight at all, really. I've talked to you about that, the secret to using these lids. I've talked to you about that, but I'll tell you again here in a minute. I'll show you. You're using the finger method with these Superb lids, and you're literally just putting it on there until it just holds the lid. That's it. I wouldn't even call it tight in my terminology. And now, ouch, they're hot. Now you need to put them in your canner. All right, I have put I've got 8 quarts, and then I've put a divider, like another shelf or a rack rather, in my canner to separate these. Now I'm going to put these narrow mouth on top of them. Not sure. Okay, and half a cup of beans, half a cup of salt in each one. And I wanted to show you a picture here, the difference in the ball lids, which are not, they're made overseas, and the locally made Superb lids, because you know, I've noticed, I don't know if you have, but the ball lids in the past year or two have been really worse, lower quality. They sloppy even. And the material, the sealant material is just sloppy all over it. Not so with the Superb. Okay, I have my 2 layers of pints in there. Let's see, 4, 6, 8. I have 8 on the bottom and 9 on top. And it is turned on already. Just attach that. And of course, just manufacturer's directions. You're going to let the steam escape for 10 minutes. And get my timer out here. After the steam escapes, it's already starting to shoot up a little bit. After the steam escapes for a good 10 minutes, good steam going, then you're going to apply, if you have one of the weights, I don't use the gauge, the weighted gauge. I don't know how to use that. This is just a weight. And put that on top. I'm going to let it come to 10 pounds pressure. If you live in a higher altitude than I do here in Ohio, then you're going to need to adjust that pressure, so you can use your manufacturer's directions for that. And then I'm going to keep it at 10 pounds pressure, as close as I can. I do have to watch this, for 75 minutes. Now, that would be whether I had 1 layer or 2. So see, I'm trying to redeem the time and be wise and make 2 layers of the beans. So 75 minutes for my pints. If you were doing quarts, the timing would be different, and so would the measurements. So I don't want to, I'll write that down below. But we're going to go over here to the Instant Pot, and we're going to make up a pot of soup from start to finish before this is even done. So I am using my Instant Pot for this method, what we're going to do. And I'm also referring to my cookbook, because I wrote my 2 cookbooks. I'm writing another one right now, my 3rd one. But I wrote these for practicality and for me to refer to, and I could have everything that I always have cooked in just several volumes just to grab. So this is going to be on page 82, where it talks about the 3 ways to cook dried beans. Well, it's 81 and 82. Also, if you have the cookbook, you'll notice, actually 4 ways to cook dried beans. Sorry, 4 ways. But it tells what kind of beans you can use. It has a list of seasoning suggestions that I have used through the years that work really well. Not maybe all at one time, but just whatever flavor you're wanting to create. And it has the 4 ways to cook the beans. Now, today, I'm just referring to my timetable. But I want to share with you something that I discovered and created the other day. And I thought, I got to share with our friends. So, meat is expensive right now. And I was in the store the other day. And because I'm filming this around Thanksgiving time. You'll see it later. But I'm filming it around Thanksgiving time. And, of course, they had turkeys and turkey breast. And I'll be honest with you, I could not even afford that week. And so they had turkey wings packaged separately, just one to a package, for like, it was like 54 cents a wing for a turkey wing. And they had turkey backs, which I have 2 in the refrigerator. I'll tell you why I'm not going to use the back for this method though. And I'm not going to use my hands because I don't want to have to wash my hands. I'll just use these tongs. All right, so just a turkey wing. I'm picky about washing hands after touching raw meat, so that's why I'm just using my tongs. But it's just a turkey wing. And I thought, what could I do? So I made an entire pot of soup using 1 turkey wing and the meat that comes off of that wing. And I'm going to show you how I did it. The reason I'm not using a neck or back, is because of the vertebra. They're smaller, and I don't want it to, fall apart in my beans and have to fish out a bunch of little vertebra. So, this was not terribly toilsome to fish out. And then Little Miss Homemaker took the meat off and put it back in our beans. So let me show you what I did. So I have the 1 turkey wing. Now, you could use any kind of beans with this. Like I said, you can refer to, in my cookbook, I tell how many minutes to cook in an Instant Pot, whether it's navy, black, great northern beans, kidney, pinto, chickpeas, or garbanzo. Chickpeas are garbanzo. It's easier to say chickpeas. I pulled out these pintos because I thought I'm going to use those, but then I've got these extra white beans, navy beans I need to use. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get my scale, and I'm just going to weigh out 1 pound because I do only need 1 pound. I don't know how to use more or less than 1 pound in the Instant Pot. And I'm just going to weigh out 1 pound. And these are washed, of course, but that's another thing. You would want to, after you weigh these out, you want to wash them. Sort them and wash them. But these are already done. Okay, this is not difficult. You're putting your beans in your Instant Pot. This is a 6-quart Instant Pot. Then I'm just going to put that turkey leg down in there. Here's another thing. You could probably brown it like in some oil or something to kind of seal in the flavors, but we're going for easy and fast tonight. Put that turkey leg down in, or wing down in there. Guess you could use a leg too. All right, now I am going to put let's see here. I'm going to put 2 teaspoons of salt. So the rest of what I'm going to do is to taste, other than the water. Now, I want to show you that I have different seasonings that I make. Some of the recipes are here on YouTube. Some the recipes are in my first cookbook. This is a taco seasoning, so that's an option. You could probably put a tablespoon of that in there, depending on what you wanted to use this for. If you just wanted it as a bean soup, you just might, I don't know. You decide whether you want it spicy. You could put it's endless. I always put 3 bay leaves. If you've been with me long, you know why I do that. See, I've got pizza seasoning blend. Actually, I bought this. I didn't make this. I've got Italian seasoning blend, a recipe here on YouTube, and that's in my first cookbook as well. You could put that. So you could make a taco flavored beans. You could make just kind of I don't want to say bland, but just kind of just basic salt and pepper. If you wanted to do that. I think I will do this Italian seasoning. I happen to know it's freshly made. I just made this blend up 2 days ago. Oh, that's going to be good. And then this is where I want you to use your creativity and don't stress about it. I try to teach, you know, my new thing to teach y'all. I want everybody to understand we're doing the best we can. So, best we can homemaking. Just do the best you can. And, you know, a turkey wing is the best I could afford the other day. And it was great. One turkey wing feeds, actually, I want to say 4 people, but we had a whole jar left over, so probably 8 people this soup would feed. Okay, and then your 6 cups of pure water. Dump that on there. That's it, y'all. That's it. So let's turn this on. Always make sure that's on good. Put it to sealing. And then I'm going to refer to this again to make sure. Where are we here? Here we are. 30 minutes for navy beans. So if it were a different bean, it'd be probably a different time. So pressure cook 30 minutes. Well, it's already set to 30 from the other day because we did this the other day. And then and that's it. And I'm telling you right now, y'all, make yourself some cornbread. That's what Little Miss Homemaker did the other night. So we had this and cornbread. Now, when this is done, this is going to be done in 30 minutes. We've still got double that time, nearly, for our canner. And when this is done, you're just going to take out the turkey wing, and you're just going to, you know, take the meat off and put it back in here, and you're good to go. So I hope you try that frugal turkey wing soup. Thanks for joining me today. I really want to help you be more comfortable, no matter your age, no matter how long you've owned a home or been homemaking. We all have something to learn. I know I learn every day. I just love to learn, especially when it comes to cooking and baking and all things food and kitchen. That's just my love language. It's my passion. But I really want to teach you to, or not teach you, but I really want to encourage you to cook without recipes, cook with comfort and with ease, and not stressing. You know, just don't stress over the details. You know, it took me forever to use an Instant Pot because I was stressing. Oh, I don't know how to use it. What if it blows up and all that kind of thing? Okay, well, it hadn't blown up yet. And I learned how to use it. And now we're good. We're good together. I do want to tell you, too, because I just looked over there and saw my dried garlic and onions. And you can put that in here, too, y'all. You could put your dehydrated vegetables, your spices, like your dehydrated, you know, whatever you want to put in there. Celery or onions or garlic, and it would be fine in this soup. So play with that. The important thing is to know the 1 pound of beans, the 6 cups of water, and the 30 minutes on high pressure. Those are really the key things to know. Other than that, the world is your oyster, as they say. Thanks for being here, and at the end of this video, I'm going to show you a photo of this soup, and I'm going to show you the canned beans coming out of the canner. But I really hope that this helped you and inspired you, and I hope that you were just inspired and encouraged to just do the best you can. If you can't can beans, go buy some canned beans, but just make sure you have some in your larder or your pantry if you need them in the future. Just do the best you can. I love you. I hope you're counting your blessings. Bye, y'all.